The ruling Sikkim Democratic Front has made an electoral promise to implement the provision for Universal Basic Income or UBI. It is the first regional party to make such a promise in the poll season. Sitting SDF Lok Sabha MP and spokesperson of the party PD Rai says, if implemented, it would be a game changer for the people of Sikkim.
Universal basic income means universal, which means that everybody in the state, whoever is the citizen of the state, will be able to access that. All right, so it's universal. Second, it's an income. So we're not saying it's a grant, or it is something which would, for at least young people, it would be very empowering, because they would be able to leverage this income, and for older people it would be part of a package for their old intake, medical expenses and so on and so forth. So that is why we have thought about doing this over, we'll take a 3-year period to set it up, and also have discussions and with stakeholders and others, which it would include really at the Gram Panchayat level and so on and so forth, so that everybody is on board. I mean, it's not about squandering away wealth. It is about utilizing wealth, ensuring that there is equitable distribution, and to in some ways look at the prosperity angle and give young people a new way of thinking about their future.
He says the surplus revenue earned by the state, mainly from its hydroelectric projects, would be utilized to create a corpus to implement universal basic income.
Today we have an installed capacity of about and running about 2200 megawatts. We would be attaining a maximum, I think, of about 3,500 megawatts.
Hamro Sikkim party of Bhaichung Bhutia has also now promised to bring UBI to the people if elected to power. Though Sikkim's hydroelectric projects are less controversial than those in Arunachal Pradesh, the state does have its share of public grievance over building of dams, particularly from the affected community, the Lepchas.
As far as Sikkim context is concerned, the issue is, at the end of the day, we have to deliver to the people. How we are going to deliver that basic income, Now, the government plan would be to generate some kind of resource from the hydroelectric power projects, or maybe from the organic farming, or likewise. But as we see today, it itself has got a problem. Now we have government actually planned around 28 hydro projects in Sikkim. Now, if you see as for today, so even if you take example of Tista Stage 3, which is the largest hydro project, 1200 megawatt. Now it is not able to function at the optimal level because government and the developers have failed to provide the proper transmission line to evacuate the power. So due to which now every day government of Sikkim is losing 5 crore, and we have already lost 5 crore for last 2 years now. We are not very optimistic that the basic fund for this scheme would be available for next 10-15 years. Another thing is, of course, per se it looks good. The government of Sikkim has given jobs to around 20,000 people, new people,
One job.
One family, one job. And then a lot of unemployed people given some kind of job in terms of ad hoc or master role. But now itself is a huge financial burden. So if we consider it as a income for the people, it is fine. But otherwise, I think the largest chunk of our revenue will be from salaries.
Concept of actually having a national policy of having to tap into dams has come in because of the huge power needs of the country. Obviously, the state of Sikkim being placed very well in terms of endowment for hydropower did experience the same kind of push from the government of India as well. And I think we moved into hydropower from that point of view. Okay. Now, there are the naysayers, as is with every other process anywhere in the world. But Sikkim has managed the Tista as well as the Rangit hydropower projects with minimal problems, especially to people who are living in that particular area. and there has been a lot of compensation that has been given. All the environmentally impact assessments, etc., or the kind of getting the consent of the people, all that has been done. But there are definitely small groups of people who have been opposed to a lot of the dams. Now we have frozen. In fact, there used to be a far greater number of, I think, projects, but we actually dwindled it down to now. I think there will be something in the order of about a little less than 20.
Sikkim is going to both assembly and parliamentary elections simultaneously on April 11. And as you have seen in this episode of Sansad, the ruling SDF has promised to bring universal basic income to the people of Sikkim if they come to power. So what they are basically talking about is also the surplus amount that the state is earning through hydropower projects like this one that you see just below here. Is going to give they are going to pass that benefit to these people of the state, to the stakeholders in a bhagidari fashion. But when we talk to people on the ground, they're very excited about the idea as such, but then they're also raised certain concerns. Most people don't want to come in front of the camera, but what they say is that their basic concerns are also that a lot of cultivable land has gone into the construction of these dams, and the mainstay of the rural economy in Sikkim is cardamom cultivation, and this is also mainly practiced by the lepchas, and the area that we are in here is the lepcha area, and so their main concern is that cultivable land is gone. They have got compensation, and many of them have actually finished the money that they got from the government, but they have not been able to transfer themselves to another means of livelihood. So that is a basic concern that we see on the ground. And the other thing is also that a lot of people have also given land to the army installations and besides the dam. So the voice on the ground that we hear is also about naming certain places which are like removing the traditional names and renaming certain places as per the army norms, and also that as per giving new names to the areas. So that is something that local people seem to be not very happy about. So as a concept, the UBI system, if it comes into Sikkim, is a good concept, people say, but then they also want these concerns to be addressed by the government.
Worried about election results? Don't worry. India has had 10 governments, 6 of which have been coalitions, and stock markets have risen. Elections don't matter. Log on to quantumamc.com to know more. Quantum Mutual Fund. Investor first. Hamesha. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Please read all scheme-related documents carefully.